Hello everyone, I Shilpa Bhandari, working as a faculty of BBA department with Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the training of Salesforce in an organization. So let's first understand what is training. So training is basically the process of increasing knowledge, skills and the other traits of an individual for performing a particular job. So its purpose is very clear. Its purpose is actually to improve the behavior and performance of the trainees. So what happens is, once the sales recruits have been selected, they need to be trained and developed. So if we talk about, there are two distinct forms of sales training. Number one is formal training and number two is the informal training. So let's understand what is this formal and the informal training. So if I talk about formal training, it actually involves careful planned programs which consist of lesson plans, visual aids, etc. So there are three phases of formal sales training. Number one is the designing of training program, and second is executing in operations, and the third one is evaluating its success, just to check whether the formal training is actually be beneficial to the organization or to the employees or not. So this is the formal training. Now if we talk about the informal training, it basically involves continuous development of sales force and how the sales supervisors works with an individual sales people, guides their daily activities and advises them on improvement that should be made. So this informal training also called as field coaching, as on-the-spot instructions are provided. I hope you people are clear about the two types of training, that is the formal and the informal training. So now let's discuss about the objectives of Salesforce training. So we do have various objectives of Salesforce training. Number one, to understand and identifying the customer needs, sales training programs provide the opportunities for a participant to learn how to identify the customer needs. This is very much essential for a salesperson. This typically enables him to make more sales and to enhance his business. Next objective of sales training is qualifying opportunities. So an effective salesman qualify opportunities efficiently using all the data and information which is available. And then sales training objectives also includes ensuring participants having the ability to use the company's customer relationship management software, that is the CRM software, which has been used by the sales people to enhance their business, that is to enhance their sales business, I would rather say, and through which they can actually acquire the customers in the market. Next objective is demonstrating value. So the sales training programs actually enables a participant to describe the company's product and services so they show value to the potential customers. So this is why the objectives of sales training is demonstrating the value. Next objective of sales training is overcoming the objections. That too, we can also say handling the objections. So what happens is, a participant in a typical sales training programs learns how to respond to a customer's question. So generally what happens at the time of selling, the seller faces a lot of objections faced by the clients or faced by the customers. The customers generally have a lot of apprehensions while the selling process. So this enables a salesman to handle all the objectives effectively and efficient and to clear the doubts and queries of all the customers. So I hope you people are clear about the objectives of sales training. Now let's just understand what is the importance or the needs of Salesforce training in every organization. So if we talk about the importance, number one is improving communication skills. How sales training is responsible or important for the communication skills or enhancing the communication skills. What happens is, while many salespeople enjoy talking to people, they may not possess well-rounded communication skills. So sales training should help them to foster key skills such as listening to gain an understanding of what the prospect or the customer truly wants and needs, as well as the art of asking the right question during the presentation. So the number one importance of Salesforce training is improving the communication skills. Number two, that is the learning sales methodology. So what happens is, sales training can actually teaches the salespersons a proven methodology that has proven to be successful. This actually keeps a salesperson a roadmap to keep her on the track throughout the presentation instead of simply winging it. right? So this is why it is important for learning the sales methodology. Number third importance, that is overcoming the objections. Again, as I said, the same point in the objective points as well. The same is the overcoming objection, that is handling the objections, a normal part of the sales process, as prospects tend to seek reasons not to buy. They generally give excuses. They have a lot of apprehensions in their mind. So an improperly trained salesperson may simply agree with the objections and stop selling. But again, an effective sales manager have a desirable quality of handling the objections and give the customer a better solution, and again convince them to buy the product. So again, yes, overcoming objection is the another importance of Salesforce training. Next importance of Salesforce training is developing the administrative skills. So what happens is, some salespeople have a tendency to focus solely on the people aspect of the position, such as prospecting and making sales calls, while overlooking the administrative tasks. But again, efficient and effective sales manager or a salesperson has to develop certain administrative skills to fulfill the desire of the administrative task as well. Next importance, that is the product knowledge. Obviously, an effective sales manager has to possess the product knowledge as well. So the product knowledge, quite simply, is the salesperson knowledge of the product or service that they are selling, and the ability to answer any question the customer may have about it. Yes, obviously, if a salesperson would have or would possess the product knowledge, then only he would able to handle the objections of the customer, one thing, and then only he would able to sell the product and ultimately build a relationship with the customers. So the next importance is customer service skills. So this customer service is the salesperson's knowledge of how to treat our customers in order to gain their respect and commitment to the individual salesperson. So it is a salesperson's ability to build a customer base of clients that will knowingly and willfully come back to them again and again to satisfy their needs and to recommend that particular salespersons to other. Obviously, if that sales manager is having the customer service skills quality, then he would able to generate lot of references from the current or the existing set of customer itself, and ultimately they would able to build the relationship, a long-term relationship with their customers. So I hope you people are clear about the objectives and importance of the Salesforce training. Now let's quickly understand about the principles of Salesforce training. So what happens is, the mission of training is actually to impart knowledge and skills to create a positive attitudes and improve behavior. So an effective sales training program is based on these certain principles, as you people can see in the BPT as well. So the number one principle is clearly recognize purpose. So what happens is, the trainer must clearly know the purpose and the mission of the training programs. Trainees must also have a clear understanding of why they are being trained. See people, it is for both trainer and trainee. The trainer and trainee should have clearly recognized the purpose, for what purpose the training is actually happening. So number second principle of Salesforce training is proper contents. The contents of training program must be appropriate and adequate, keeping in view the purpose and the situation. So the duration, time and place of training should be duly fixed, and it has to be communicated in advance to the trainees. Next principle, that is the good trainers. The trainers must be well qualified and motivated for the job. They should have a clear picture of training purpose. Then only they can call as a good trainers. Number fourth principle, that is the clarity of presentation. Yes, of course, every effort I'm saying again must be made to make the training material simple and clear. It should use a layman language. It should not use any difficult words. The material must be presented in terms that are understandable to the trainees. So the next principle of Salesforce training is planned repetitions. See, what happens is, important concepts and ideas should be repeated at relevant places in the training program to reinforce the understanding. So the repetition is also necessary if the trainees are trying to unlearn some previously learned wrong notions or the techniques. This is why the planned repetitions are required. Next principle, that is systematic review. So what happens is, reviewing allows the trainees to check their understanding. So it improves their morale and sets the stage for the training material that is to follow. Again, the next principle of Salesforce training is orderly development of material. So orderly training can show the trainee how to handle the objections of the customers. Therefore, it should have a logical and meaningful sequence. Next principle, that is the sensible pace. So the trainer must be sure that the trainee is proceeding at the right pace. Therefore, the periodic test may be conducted for this purpose. Periodic tests are actually designed for this purpose. Next principle, that is the participation by the trainee, which is the utmost requirement of the training process. So the research and learning reveals that people retain a greater proportion of what they do. Therefore, trainees should be allowed to participate in their own training by actually doing what they are learning. So here we are done with the principles of Salesforce training. Now, let's understand how to design a sales training program. So in the design phase, decision concerning the following points are to be taken. Number 1 point, that is the selection of trainee. See, the first question to be decided in which salesperson should be trained and what in their careers. The selection of the appropriate trainees to whom the training has to be given are to be selected. Number 2nd point, that is the selection of the trainers, that who all are the people who are actually going to deliver the trainings to the trainees. The degree of learning basically depends to a great extent on the quality of trainers. Line executives, or we can say the staff specialists and the outside experts, may be employed to impart the training to the trainees. Next point, that is the time of training. Some executives believe that every person should be fully trained before being asked to go and sell. Other managers want recruits to show a desire to sell before investing in training them. So the decision regarding the time of training has to be taken accordingly by the sales head or the top management. Next point, that is the place of training. So the training may be centralized in one location. Alternatively, it may be decentralized in the forms of field sales office, on-the-job training, sales seminars, and the self-guided assignments. So this again the decision of the top management of the sales department for understanding and defining the place of training. Next point, while designing the Salesforce training program, the contents of training. So the primary objective of training is to teach how to sell or to improve the current selling skills. Therefore, the main content of training is product knowledge and persuasive communication skills. These are the major 2 points keeping in mind while preparing the contents of the training. 6th point, that is the methods of training. So several techniques are used in sales training. For an example, on-the-job training, lectures, case studies, demonstrations, role-playing, audio-video cassettes, dramas and skits, business games. These are certain methods of training. Next point and the last point, that is the field methods. So sales training also involves self-development. Each and every salesperson must be provided continuous guidance by the sales supervisor or the immediate boss. So here we are done with the designing of sales training program. Now let us quickly understand about the methods of training Salesforce. What can be the methods of training the sales force? So few of the methods which are mentioned, as you people can see as well, are the very journal points, that is lectures, by delivering the lectures, attending the conferences wherein both the trainers and the trainee equally participate. Next point can be the demonstration, wherein the trainees actually understand how to sell a product or how to showcase the features or the utility performance of the products through proper evidences and proof. Next point can be the role playing, wherein the trainees are actually required to perform the roles of certain characters. Next can be the case discussion. Any of the cases can be discussed at the time of those conferences or any discussions. Next can be the sales seminars. There are certain sales seminars wherein there are certain speakers or the experts who actually provide the sales related information or the knowledge to the sales people. Next can be the business games or the internships training. Brainstorming is the part wherein again the views of the trainees or the participants are actually being taken into the consideration and the best of the solution or best of the alternatives has been selected. Next can be again the job rotation method, wherein a sales manager or a salesperson can be asked to perform different sales activities. So I hope you people understood about the training of the sales force in every organization, right? So here we are done with this lecture. I hope you people liked it. Thank you so much.